New York State Assemblyman from Harlem. He first got elected in 1974. At that time, he said he had to work to clean up the city and clean up Harlem from landlords, crime, and violence.
Problems, folks were doing things they shouldn't do it to each other. When we had a lot of drugs, 60s, 70s, up until Dave Dinkins finally got enough money, came up here, begged, borrowed everything to get more money, to put more police. And of course, Giuliani said, "Oh, I turned it around." No, he didn't. Dave turned it around. The numbers started going down. And of course, when Giuliani came in, it was really going down, so he could take credit for it. It happened on his beat, and he said, "See what I did." He didn't do it. Dave did it. So that was it.
In the early 70s, all over New York City, and especially in Harlem, many landlords abandoned their buildings. Denny worked hard for tenants all over Harlem. In fact, Denny was able to take over 100 buildings back from landlords and create a management system where the tenants had rights to manage their own building.
At one point, I took away about 75 buildings. If the landlords didn't do the job, we would take it away. When I took a lot of buildings away, and that allowed me to make. I said, you know what? Because I found out that I said, I will help you help yourself. I'm not doing it for you. But if you got somebody there, and it used to be the women, because they would be the ones that would work with me to run the build, because they had to buy their own oil. They had to go and you took the building from them. And I said one day, the problem is they have those guys managing it. These people don't have anybody to help them. I said, we've got to create a county. And we created the Neighborhood Preservation Corporation. And that's my bill. And it said that we would set up a management unit, and they would be responsible for taking care of those buildings we took away if they wanted to have the help. And they're still in government to this day. As a matter of fact, this year they got around me and I didn't catch it, and they cut some money. I got to go do something about it. I cut some money out. Got to make sure we get that put back.
In the 1980s, Denny was instrumental in standing up against South African apartheid. He helped pass the bill to have New York divest from South African banks.
The Kukuran, which was the gold that you could buy, you could get, and it was like getting gold, and they would sell it to the banks, the American banks, and people would buy it. And that, of course, was helping them in South Africa, and that was 1987. And I got a bill passed which stopped them from buying it, allowing them to sell it. Now it's 92 or 93. Mandela is out. He's now the president. He sends a letter. I can't remember if it came to me or it went to the banks, but I remember there was a letter. And that letter said, "We thank you for what you did then, but we need the money." So we had to undo it. So the bill I passed to put the crunch on them, I had to undo so that they could continue to get the money they needed. Been around in politics from 1959 when I was working with a team, a baseball team, and I needed some money to get uniforms, and I talked to a friend of mine who was political, and he said, "Well, why don't you go to the political club?" I said, "What's a political club?" He said, "Go see the district leader." "What's a district leader?" I went, I said, "Hello, blah, blah, blah." He gave me money for the baseball team, for the kids. I was like 23. So we got the money, And that was in May. And then now it's September, October. It's cold, the phone rings. My friend says to me, Denny, Simonetti, the district leader, wants you to come out and help him on the sidewalk giving literature. I said, what the hell should I do that? He said, he helped you. I said, okay, you got me. And I went out with him. It was a very cold, rainy day, and I forgot who the person was. We gave out the literature. And then the district leader came over to me and said, would you like to be a member of my club? And I said, I don't know. And my friend said, yes, he wants to be. And he left. He said, oh, that's great, you're in the club. So I got into a political club, which I still have to this day. It's the club still exists, Tioga Democratic Club. But Harlem was what we call the hill and the valley. The valley, if you're going around from 145th Street to 155th Street, you can't get from river to river because you're up on a hill. Manhattan, starting around 96th Street, starts going uphill on the riverside. Harlem is on the flat. My mother is a woman from Jamaica. She is a Patterson, and her father was the plantation owner, a white guy, Scottish. My grandmother was African. My father came from Panama. His mother was a woman from Sierra Leone, and she came to Jamaica, and then from Jamaica she went to Panama. But in those days, the Jamaican government wouldn't allow Jamaicans to go to the Panama Canal because the French killed a lot of them in 1880 when they tried to build a canal. And so because of that, she had to work as a maid for somebody in a boat going across and get to Panama. And then she got herself, because she was a businesswoman, she got herself a bar. And then this guy was, this white guy, Irish guy, his name was Farrell. He was working on the railroads because the canal, when they dug up the canal for the Panama Canal, he was there, and there were two Farrells, and that was my father. I was born in Harlem Hospital. I'd moved from Harlem Hospital to 160th Street. That's approximately 31 blocks from where I live now. My father was a tailor. He came to become a tailor. He was taught tailoring. And my mother was a seamstress, and she could do a lot of very good work. So when they got married, and now they sent me to Jamaica. I went back to Jamaica. I was there for 5 years. Yeah, the first 5 years. Up here, folks send people down south, and we go down to the islands. So I was going to school down there. I went to Titchfield. When we came back, my mother told my father, if you can make suits, you can make dresses. I'll get you a job working in the factory with me. But you got to tell them we're brother and sister, not husband and wife. Because the union was very good. And if there were 10 people and 100 dresses and 10 workers, each one would get 10. But if it was husband and wife, they would get 5. But if you're brother and sister, 10. So I was a twin. When my father talks about me, I was that child. When my mother talks about me, that was that child. Jamaican food, I don't know. I eat the curry coat with a little ball of bones. I grew up with a bottle on the table with the Scotch bonnet. I don't know if you've ever seen a Scotch bonnet or tasted one. If you tasted it, you'd remember. You'd have a hole in your mouth. And what they used to do is they take a bottle, put vinegar in, put vegetables in, and then put the Scotch bonnet in. And for the next 10 years, you could do that every year. They'd add to it. Just leave it in there. Don't touch it. Because if you ate that, that would kill you. It was so hot. That's Jamaican thing. And then there was patties, which everybody has it. And every island has it with a different name. But we had, they give you a name and then they call you something else. I don't know. Because my D is Daniel. My Herman D. Farrell. D is Daniel Farrell. But I'm Denny. My father is Daniel. I just woke up and they called me Denny.
Father?
Yeah, this is my father. That's Carrie, the governor. This one, you know who this man is?
Who is he?
Dr. King. But you look at him, and you know which one that is. That's the father. That's the father of Dr. King.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dr. King. His son was dead when this is 1974, 78. This is a great picture. That's Andrew, and that's Mario. And that picture is me I told him to tell him he's got to keep campaigning. And this is the day before the election. And he says, I'm going to win, and that's it. I'm not doing any more. I always said I was jumping out of the way.